It begins in a quiet studio, where light filters through dusty windows and lands on a blank canvas. The artist picks up a brush, hesitates, and places the first stroke. A line that trembles with intention, a mark that speaks of possibility and of limits. Because every masterpiece starts with an admission. We can never say it all. I remember the first time I realized this truth. I was sitting in a concert hall, eyes closed, listening to a symphony. As the orchestra swelled, I felt something move inside me. An ache, a yearning that could not be named. The music soared to a climax so grand it seemed to touch the heavens, then dissipated into silence. In that moment, I understood the composer could not finish. The final note was as much a doorway as a conclusion, an invitation to listen beyond the music. Every great painting, every stirring song, every epic poem shares the same secret. At its core, it lies unfinished. The painter leaves a shadow undefined. The musician allows a lingering rest. The poet ends mid-verse, the final phrase trailing into possibility. Perfection, it seems, belongs to the horizon, always on the edge of our sight, but never captured. Why do we find this compelling? Why does the incomplete draw our eyes, quicken our hearts? Perhaps because incompletion mirrors our own humanity. We are born unfinished, our minds curious, our souls insatiable. We learn, we grow, we falter. More than that, we hope. We hope because we're incomplete. I think of Michelangelo chipping away at marble. He said he saw the angel in the stone and carved until he set him free. Yet, every statue he left bears the nicks of hammer and chisel, remnants of the sculptor's hand, reminders that even the angel remains tethered to the stone. The cracks, the unpolished edges, these are not flaws. They are the hymn of becoming. In music, the rest is as vital as the note. When Bach pauses between measures, the silence amplifies the sound. When jazz soloists abandon melody for spontaneous improvisation, they reveal the art in letting go. They remind us, the spaces we leave are part of the song. Consider the unfinished sonatas of Mozart, left on scraps of paper, fragments of genius. We feel their absence as deeply as we feel their presence. We imagine what could have been, and in that imagining, the music grows larger than the pages. The missing measures become our own composition. And here we arrive at the paradox. The very thing we cannot attain becomes the source of our wonder. The artist, in recognizing limits, touches eternity. Incompleteness is not failure, it is invitation. We glimpse this in childhood drawings, in the amateur strums of a guitar. We look at the raw edges and smile, because we know that something beyond technique pulses beneath the surface. In each unrefined line, we see the spark of divine creativity. This leads us to a deeper reflection. What if our lives, too, are greatest when we admit we are unfinished? What if our beauty lies in the tension between our longing and our becoming? What if perfection, in God's design, is woven into our imperfections? I remember a conversation with an elderly painter, his hands stained with pigment. "Son," he said, "the day you finish a painting is the day you die, because the moment you think you have nothing more to add, you have stopped living." In that, I heard a sermon. Life is art and art is life. We labor, we learn, we stumble, and with each effort, the unfinished silhouette of our soul grows richer. Our stories, like sketches in charcoal, hint at shapes we will never fully define. Yet, in those hints, we find ourselves. When we create, we echo the Creator. We join in the dance of bringing something from nothing. We place a word, a sound, a color, aware all the while that the work transcends our hands. This echo reveals a truth. God, too, is infinite. His masterpiece stretches beyond time, beyond knowing. And so, our striving becomes worship. The imperfect chord we play, the shaky line we draw, the words we read aloud, each is an offering of our incomplete hearts. In that offering, we touch grace. There is freedom here, freedom to fail, to revise, to begin again, freedom to leave room for mystery, because mystery beckons us beyond what we can see and name. I see this in love, relationships that grow, adapt, and sometimes break. No partnership is ever fully perfect. Each bears its marks of struggle, forgiveness, recreation. Yet, it is in navigating those unfinished spaces that love deepens. I see this in faith, questions more numerous than answers, beliefs shaped by doubt and discovery, prayers that are half-formed cries into the night, and still we press on because our restless spirits thirst for more. And then I think of God, the divine artist whose canvas is creation itself. Each star, each breath, each heartbeat, stroke after stroke of infinite purpose. He does not need to finish, for his perfection lies in the unfolding. Our imperfection reflects his boundless creativity. Our unfinished points to his ever-creating. Our longing echoes his invitation. Come, see more, know more, be more. And in that invitation, we find belonging. In every great art, there is one final fact. Completion is an illusion. The horizon moves as we walk toward it. The last note vibrates into possibility. The masterpiece remains alive. So, dear listener, let your life be a canvas raw, unvarnished, full of potential. Let your voice be a melody that occasionally stumbles, but always rises. Let your story be a poem of questions, not just answers. Because in humility we find our greatest strength. In vulnerability, our true beauty. In the unfinished, we discover perfection. And perhaps that is the most human thing of all, to long for what we have never fully grasped, to chase a beauty that always beckons us onward, always deeper, always farther. Which brings us back to the studio, the concert hall, the quiet moment alone with clay and cloud. We pick up our tools and we begin again. We begin knowing we cannot finish, and that knowledge becomes our song. For in this truth, we touch something holy, the pulse of divine creativity in our own veins, the craft of art, the art of life, both forever unfolding, perfectly unfinished,